Yet again, thus Group Blemish Braxton's ex is presently openly questioning her allegations that he, Jeremy, is currently guaranteeing that he unloaded her, since she was only excessively harmful for him to think about. Yet this separation is ending up being a train wreck in light of the fact that Tamara has of late emerged to address Jeremy's separation declaration. And she sort of painted Jeremy as the antagonist. Apparently the show between Tamar Braun and her ex Jeremy Robinson is starting to warm up in light of the fact that the two sides are presently exchanging blows. Jeremy, a company receives just to show how harmful Tamar is, just enamored in war. Yes, we have certainly seen her be poisonous and discourteous with the sisters all the time. Is terrible as it sounds. Individuals don't precisely fault him for feeling as such in light of the fact that there have been many individuals who have been shouting at one another and blaming the other for being the troublemaker in the story. Yet Jeremy is presently making things a stride further on the grounds that he recently uncovered that Tamar's harmfulness is the explanation that he said a final farewell to her. There has been a ton of conversation about Tamar's disturbed love life in the past, since she has been in her reasonable portion of noxious and revolting separations. Her most memorable marriage, which scarcely endured a year prior to she tapped out, wasn't close at all to being that horrendous, as sloppy as her second separation, following a fruitful 9 years in her second union. With Vince Harbour, the dad of her kid Tamar, dropped the separation bomb. She likewise made some abusive behavior at home charges against him, saying that he contacted her once they had the option to set their disparities to the side and focus on co-nurturing their child. David had additionally entered the image, and we should say that relationship was a finished fiasco. At first it gave the idea that David planned to move in with her, so she got a limiting request against him to be her perfect suitor. Yet sooner or later, the relationship reached a conclusion. And this time, David was the person who blamed her for bad, asserting that she was a poisonous accomplice who had made the relationship challenging for him. Following that untidy separation, she reported that she was enjoying some time off from connections to zero in on herself. Well, she gave that discourse about attempting to be a superior individual, and everything except that specific goal doesn't appear to have endured extremely lengthy on the grounds that the following thing we realized: she had pursued the truth dating program Sovereign's Court, with an end goal to find her first love. Well, Jeremy was a challenger on the show, which is the way they initially met. They had a short sentiment, and 10 episodes later, he proposed, "Wow, I love you. And I realize you are the one I need to wed anyway. I've never done anything like this, so what's the point?" The most terrible that could happen when Tamar and Jeremy are involved. It changes from being an awful plan to a turbulent debacle really taking shape, since we as a whole realize that Tamar has an extremely frightful way I track down affection today. And for a great many people, hopping into marriage is generally a genuinely horrendous choice. With regards to these connections, on the off chance that there's one individual who can match her muddled past, it's Jeremy. You see, Jeremy carried his own stuff into the relationship. Since he has 5 kids, that is a ton of child mothers, with 4 unique ladies, haven't arrived to pass judgment on anybody's life decisions. But rather, having 4 child moms in the image is a catastrophe waiting to happen regardless of your perspective. And when you calculate Tamar's standing for being hella unbridled, it's still sort of wild to have 4 child moms in 2023. Chaotic. It resembles a ticking delayed bomb that is holding on to detonate, yet on the off chance that weren't awful sufficient, it just so happens Jeremy has serious struggle with each of the 4 of his child mothers. To say the least, they will not be submitting him for any most prominent parent grants. And from what we realize, they utilize each an open door to hurt their child. For example, one of his infants, Emma, uncovered him for taking on the appearance of an individual of color while being completely white, saying he has a benefits for individuals of color, to where he habitually alludes to himself as fair-looking white chocolate and labels. She additionally uncovered that he was shockingly impolite, presumptuous, racially uncaring, womanizing, and debasing he professes to be a partner of individuals and a defender of people of color. Yet his activities recount an alternate story. He would visit the club, pretty much consistently petitioning God for delightful individuals of color, and bringing them back home. Individuals were begging Tamar to leave the relationship since it was harmful, yet she would not leave. Rather, she endeavored to uncover him as a colonizing hunter who takes care of his obsession for biracial youngsters to take care of his inner self and want to be acknowledged by the African American population. She chose to stay by him, telling him and his kids the amount she cherished them on her birthday prior this year, adding, "It's my birthday, yet I have need to say thanks to P.O. for the messy grin he puts all over it. Took me some time to understand that this healthy customary love isn't genuine. We have 6 youngsters together, and they mean the world to me. He has 4 child moms, and I'm appreciative for them anyway." Another of Jeremy's child moms protested Tamar discussing her kid in such a manner, and she said, "Let me let you know something, be clear, so that everybody could see both for themselves. And for myself, she hasn't said thanks to God for me work to be straightforward any of his child mothers. She has said corrupting, discourteous, and unseemly things. She has put forth no attempt to be my child's mom or stepmother. Really tried to meet me to be fair." Jeremy attempted to shield Tamar, said she has forever been a superb mother and crown jewels my kids with adoration in any event. When we differ and have no connection, she has made my child's dad miss birthday events and days of appearance. To address a misconception, you start a pessimistic circle. I need everybody to reside in harmony, and I'll give my all to advance that. Yet apparently things have taken a terrible turn on the grounds that Jeremy as of late uncovered via virtual entertainment that he and Tamar had separated, yet not just that. He likewise made a point to stress that he composed Tamar and I are as of now not together. I cut off the friendship to zero in on returning to good energy and being a superior individual. What occurred and why that is the way our confidential plays. No, I never bamboozled you. Proceeded to say, "I never thought often about you," demonstrating that he was the person who unloaded her and not the reverse way around. Distinction. I've generally worked for unmistakable individuals, and the truth of the matter is that I was in a fantastic spot, both monetarily and sincerely. I over and again dismissed Sovereign's Court prior to yielding, yet at last I fell head over heels and things didn't turn out the manner in which I had trusted. Subsequently, I need to continue on and vow to continuously be loved ones with tomorrow. Given the troublesome start of this relationship, getting hitched after half a month isn't precisely a recipe for progress. As a matter of fact, in the event that you've been following these two, you'll realize that the possibilities of the relationship succeeding are very probably nothing. Fans likewise noticed how peculiar it was that despite the fact that he kept on demanding that he had never wandered or disregarded any regulations, he was additionally kind of suggesting that Tamar was the issue. To be fair, he didn't precisely express that she was the issue, yet he made it exceptionally plain when he said that she was the reason for his unfaithfulness. She passed on the relationship to focus on recapturing her great energy and being a superior individual, yet in the event that that isn't being crisped towards her, then at that point, I don't know what is on the grounds that Tamar made a video in which she basically questioned that she was the justification behind the partition and guaranteed that she wasn't at fault. The relationship has now been tended to. I have no control over assuming individuals fall into that impression since it's basic. And I get it, yet I will not permit anybody to keep me prisoner to it. Had been buckling down on herself. I have done a ton to deal with my psychological well-being and change who I used to be and who I'm presently. She said my set of experiences and the difficulties I confronted. She additionally suggested that she had been shocked by the parted and hadn't seen it coming, which is another sign that she was attempting to discredit Jeremy's cases, that she was harmful today. I'm mentally well, and I'm happy. Gracious, I'm vexed. Yet such she further expressed I simply maintain that everybody should know that Satan is a filthy liar, and I've worked as long as I can remember to subsidize this whole visit. She successfully acquired the public compassion for these comments, yet Jeremy claims that she is genuinely endeavoring to get compassion, as per an insider Tamar, turned out to be excessively poisonous for Jeremy to deal with. And when he understood that she was a lot of he decided to become engaged with the relationship, she would rather not be seen as the justification for one more bombed relationship. The insider additionally noticed that Tamar handles all of the "I've changed" personally on the off chance that this is valid. It's not the initial time she's gotten it done, and Jeremy doesn't figure it will be the last.